Hey everyone, welcome back to Snack Time. My name is Ben, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Kaneo. Now, I'm sure I probably screwed that name up. I don't know if it's Kaneo or something or another. But anyway, it is basically an open source project management software that uses kind of a Kanban board. So I guess that's where the can came from. All right, let's take a look, and I want to show you around the platform, and then I'm going to show you how to set it up using Docker, portainer, and our Nginx proxy manager so you can expose the traffic to the internet. And there's a couple of things that we'll go over on this file in just a second. But for now, let's jump into the software. So when you first arrive here, we're going to be needing to create an account or sign in. Let's go ahead and sign up. I'm going to create a new account. I'm just going to do Ben, and then I'm just going to do ben@synhow.com. And I'm just going to give myself a password. And so when I sign up, very easy peasy, nothing to it. When we first get here, we are going to be needing to create a workspace. So let's do that. Let's say we're doing like house repair or something, and we want to track our progress. We're going to drop this down and we're going to create a workspace. We're just going to call this workspace, we're going to just call it house. And once we have created that workspace, we now need to create a project, but we can also invite people to this workspace and they can work on different projects. So let's pretend we're going to work on the kitchen. So I'm going to hit the projects up here. I'm going to create a new project underneath my workspace. I'm going to call it kitchen. And we can select an icon. Let's see if there's one that resembles the kitchen. How about a random paint thing, sure, whatever. Palette. All right, once we create that, we are given 4 different columns for our projects and things we're going to be working on. So let's do this. Let's create a to-do list. And we're going to click on this little plus symbol at the very top of the page. And once we do, we're going to be given our new task. So let's create a new task. Let's say that we are going to replace cabinets. And we can give it a little bit of description, replace them. Placement cabinets will be brown. And if we did have multiple people working on this project, we could assign it to different people. But right now it's just me. I will show you how to add additional people to the platform and assign different tasks to them, which is going to be really cool. All right, after we do that, we're going to hit create task. And now we have the very first task in our project, just called replace cabinets. From there, we can, update sync, all the other stuff that you'd want to be able to do with your kitchen. I'm going to leave that unassigned. I'm going to give that a medium priority. And once you have created your task, you can go in and add a little bit more detail too. If we click on the task itself, then we can give it, a little bit more descriptive with our description. We can add some bullet points and be like, don't mess this up or do mess this up. All right. We can also add some comments. So, say, hey, talk to vendor. And then we'll just hit that comment. So if you have multiple people working on it, we can kind of update the task and kind of give some status updates. So we can also modify this information over here. Check this out. So if we go in and zoom over here, we can change and add ourselves a due date. So maybe we need to have this completed by a certain date. We can specify that. And once you've done all of that, we're just going to go ahead and X out the task. But you see we have our due date specified here, and we have all the information that has been recorded so far. So yeah, pretty cool. So as we progress with these tasks, we're going to be dragging and dropping them, and just so we can kind of keep track on how that's going with our project, with our kitchen remodeling. So if we've replaced our cabinets or we have them in progress, we can just simply drag them over. If you've ever used a Kanban board, this is pretty much the big thing about it is just being able to, at a quick glance, look at all the different things in your project. And, we can see that it is now it has the priority of low, but it has a status of now in progress. So you can also, I think you can also change it from here if you wanted to. And then when you exit out, it should be in this new column. And as you do complete tasks, you just drag them into the done. So you'll know what's been done, what's not been done. All right, so let me show you the settings, which there aren't a ton. Let's click on settings and we can choose between light mode and dark mode or system. We can do interface preferences, which is basically, do you want to show or hide the taskbar? And you can also do that with this little button up here too. So not a ton of options, but this is a very new project. And well, this is a new open source project, not a new sub project here, not to get those two confused. So there may be some stuff added in the future, but honestly, it has everything that you really need for project management. Let's do this. I'm going to show you how to add additional people to your work group. So maybe we wanted to add some more people to this team. If we just click on Manage Team on the left-hand side here, and then we're going to send a new invitation. I'm going to click New Invitation, and I'm just going to use a quick little trick. I'm going to say Ben plus Bob at synhow.com. You can pretty much name this whatever you want to. It's not going to send out an invitation like it thinks that you think it might. I'm not sure if that's just not been added yet, or because I didn't see any sort of configuration with email, but it may be on the list of things to do. But it doesn't really matter because when this account signs in, you will see the invitation, or basically the new workspace already on there. So I'm going to hit send invitation. And then I'm going to sign out. I'm going to create a new account. I'm just going to say Bob. I'm going to put that email address in, and I'm going to make myself a password. Since it doesn't send any sort of welcome email currently, you can pretty much just put any email address that you want to in there. All right, once you have signed in with your invited account, you'll see on the left-hand side that I have under my workspace, I have house. And I can go and I can see my project too. And you're going to go under Manage Team, and you'll see that their owner is right here, which is me. And then I have my fake little Bob account, which is a member of that. So let's do this. I want to see one more thing. If we sign in, let's see what we can do about this. I want to make sure. Yeah, they don't currently have, it looks like, a way for me to deactivate this. But again, very, very new open source project. There's even going to be, I don't know if you can see this, but there will be roles that will be created in the future, and I'm sure user management as well. But for now, if you do invite somebody to your project, you might want to get used to them being there, because it doesn't appear that there's a way just to remove them. So something I'm sure is on its way. And let me do this. We're going to jump into the installation portion of this video, and I'm going to show you how to spin this up on your own Docker server and get it going so that you can evaluate it and see if it's something that maybe you want to start using in your personal life, or maybe in your business. You never know. All right, let's do this. I'm going to sign out, and I'm going to jump over to the installation. I'll see you there in just a second. What is up, Ben from the past? So I'm going to jump in here and take over the installation portion, because as one of our subscribers has pointed out, there has been some pretty big differences in the composer file in a very short period of time. So I wanted to make sure that we had a correction for that, and that you guys had all of the information that you needed. So let's go ahead and waste no time, and let's jump into the installation. We're already at the GitHub page. Don't think that changed, but just in case, this is the URL that we are going to be going to. Once we are here, we're going to scroll all the way to the middle of the page. And if you watch the old video, this composer file used to be a lot bigger. It's not anymore. It's a lot shorter. They used to have I think a third container. It was like RabbitMQ, and I think it's a messenger kind of. I think it was like a programming requirement. if I'm not mistaken. But he kind of did away with that, and now it's just 2 containers, and it's a lot more lightweight, so not less resource intensive. There's going to be a couple of things that we are going to be doing still, and I'm going to take you through the entire process. In this video, we are going to cover exposing this to the internet through Nginx Proxy Manager, but I'm going to give you the option to keep it local if you so choose. So the first thing we want to do is definitely copy this compose.yaml file, and let's head over to portainer. Let's go ahead and create a stack. Go to stacks and hit new, and I'm going to give this a name. And now let's paste in our compose file, which is a lot shorter and smaller and easier to deal with, but we're still going to look at it. So if we zoom in, what we have here is we have the image that we're going to be pulling that has changed a little bit. This is pulling the back end. This is the API that does all of the work. And the front end is basically what it interfaces with this back end, obviously. So we are going to be changing this JWT access, and honestly, you probably can just make this some random characters. I would stay away from special characters as it might mess with your compose file a little bit, but let's just do this. Let's just make this Kaneo is cool. There you go. And next up, we have our database path. No need to modify that. And next we have our ports. So this is the ports for the API, right? So we do want this to be exposed to the internet, but we do not want to run it and just let it be out there on its own. So what we're going to do is we are going to comment out these ports. However, if you're going to be running this locally and locally only, do not do this step. Instead, move on and don't comment out any of the ports, because that's how it's going to, the front end is going to communicate with this backend. But I'll show you what we're going to do with Nginx Proxy Manager in a little bit, and we're going to make this really easy. Volumes, we are setting up our mapped volume, SQL light underscore data, going to go to this path. That's fine. And our front end, if we move on down a little bit, our front end is going to be pulling this latest web image, and we do need to set our API URL. So this is going to be the URL that the front end is going to look to get access to your data, right? So if you were running this locally, then this is fine. This is actually a good setting, because it's just going to look for on the local host, and that would be the host machine on port 1337, which is up here. But for us, that's not going to be possible, because we're not going to let it sit out there on 1337. Instead, we're going to create a subdomain for it, and I'll show you all that. But for now, let's do this. I'm going to definitely make this secure. And for the URL, I'm not going to leave that port in there, and I'm not going to leave it localhost, but I do need to come up with a unique name. So I'm going to call it a Kaneo-API and then .synhow.com. Again, this URL is for the API, not for the site that's going to be hosting. That's not going to be the front end. It doesn't even ask for that, so you don't need it. All right, so for our ports, I'm going to comment these out. Again, we're going to be running this through Nginx Proxy Manager. And we have a restart policy. Kind of skipped over that, but this basically means that unless you stop it, it's always going to come up. So if the VM or the VPS loses power and it boots back up, these are going to boot up along with it. Lastly, we have our volumes. So this is going to be the SQLite is, remember, this is the one that we created up here. And this is just telling Docker, go ahead and create these volumes for us. All right. Now, with all that being done, let's go ahead and let's deploy this. If we did everything right, we should get a cute little "you're done" up here. All right, all done. We've successfully deployed. So if we do go to Kaneo and we start looking at at this information here. The front end is most likely trying to get to the back end and failing to do so because we have not set up that path for it to get back to the back end. So let's go ahead and do that. And so it'll probably stop freaking out. But in the meantime, if you, you'll probably notice eventually this is probably going to say like unhealthy or something because it just can't get access to it. That's okay. Not a big deal. All right, for this, we are going to be using Nginx Proxy Manager. So I'm going to come in here to containers. I'm going to go to my Nginx Proxy Manager. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom here. And if we look down here at the very bottom where it says networks, so let's drop this down and let's find our Kaneo_default. And this is going to allow our Nginx Proxy Manager, it's going to give it the ability to talk to these other Kaneo containers. Let's hit join network. I'm going to move myself back. Cool. So now we're joined up. If we scroll all the way to the bottom, we can see that we're going to be getting an IP address right there. Awesome. So now we need to configure our subdomains and Nginx Proxy Manager itself. For this, I'm going to use Namecheap, and I'm going to set us up some subdomains. We need two of them. We need one for the front end and one for that back end, the API. So let's do this. I'm going to grab my external IP address. I'm going to create a new record, and they're going to be A records. So if you are using something other than Namecheap, just remember A record. I'm going to be setting up that subdomain for my API, Kaneo-API, and paste in my IP address of my server. And now I'm going to add a second one, and this is going to be the actual website that I'm going to go to access my Kaneo. It's going to go to the same IP address. All right, so let's hit Save Changes. The only reason that the IP address may ever be different is maybe you're hosting the API on a different server. Maybe like a huge Kaneo instance. If that's the case, you do you. All right. So next up, let's jump back over to our Nginx Proxy Manager configuration. And I'm going to go under my proxy hosts here, and I'm going to add a new one. Let's see if I can zoom in just a tad. All right, for this one, let's do the API first. Kaneo-api.synhow.com. And it's looking for a host name or IP address. That is going to be the one of your container. So if we go over to portainer, we go to our containers there. Yep, see, it says unhealthy. So you highlight this one right here. This is the back end. This is where the API traffic is going to go to. So I'm going to copy that host name, or the container name rather. It's the same kind of thing. Paste it in there. Make sure you don't have any spaces in here, any trailing spaces or any leading spaces. Otherwise, it's going to cause you to have a bad day. Now it's wanting the port. What port was the API expecting to see traffic on? Do you remember? If you don't, that's okay. We can go back to the container file. Actually, we can see it's listing on port 1337 for the traffic. That's what we're going to use here, 1337. Block common exploits, WebSocket support enabled. And now we want to make sure that this is also HTTPS. So instead of just having this HTTP only, I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to hit edit. And I'm going to go to SSL. I'm going to request a new certificate, force it, and agree to the terms of service. And if you did everything right, you spelled everything right, we should be getting an SSL cert any minute now. Cool, we did. Let's encrypt. All right, now, next step, we need to set up our web traffic. So let's go and add a new one. This one's going to be the Kaneo.synhow.com. All right, and again, we need to get that portainer or container name rather, and that is going to be the Kaneo-frontend-1. I'm gonna paste that here. Check for those leading spaces. Look at that little devil here. Look at him. You see him? Evil little man. Delete that. It will cause you to pull your hair out. And all right, so next up, we need to add the port. And I forgot what it is too. It's okay. We look down here. That is going to be not there. Right here. Sorry. Right here. Going to be the 5173. That's the port that it is listening. Remember, one on the left is the port that it would open up on the host machine, and the one on the right is the traffic, is the port that the container is trying to get traffic on. So let's use that one. Let's paste it in here. Common exploits, WebSocket support, save. And now let's do this. Let's head over and make this encrypted as well. Why not? You don't have to pay for them. Get them for free. Force it, enable it, save it. And wait. Hopefully spelled everything right. Otherwise, bad days. All right, so while that's chugging right along, we got our cert. Awesome. Let's head back to portainer. Let's refresh this, see if it's still unhealthy. It is, and that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to restart this guy. So I don't want him to be unhealthy. And let's go into logs and make sure he's able to communicate. All right, I think, yeah, found Kaneo. Yeah, okay, cool. Replaced Kaneo API. All right, that's cool. Yeah. Good. All right, we're good to go. So yeah, I don't know if you can see, but these are happy messages. Ready. Cool. Let's go back to our Nginx proxy manager and let's click on our main one here. If you click on this one, what you'll see is something like, it's kind of your typical like API kind of response. And that's fine. If you wanted to increase the security of this, you could also like create an access list that only allow traffic to this particular host proxy or proxy host from the IP address of your server. That is totally optional, but something you should definitely look into. Access lists are nice. Let's click on Kaneo. Here we go. We are in. It's been a little bit since I have played around with this. So let's go ahead and create an account. Remember that first account that we're going to make, and it is going to be our admin account. And helps if I can type. Oh, there we go. Create a new workspace. Bin. Nice. Create a first project. House remodel. And where's the picture of the house? Rocket ship. There we go. I live on a rocket ship. All right, there we go. All set up. Not too bad. Definitely snappier, and I'm sure he's added a bunch of stuff. So get in here and play around with it. It looks pretty nice. I'm always impressed by developers that put a lot of time and effort into their projects. So I'm not going to bore you with me trying to rediscover this again. I'm going to let you play with it yourself. All right, well, that pretty much wraps up this update video. I hope it was informative, and I really appreciate you guys spending some time with me, and I hope you enjoy Kaneo. I think it's a pretty cool project, and the developer is obviously very active, so definitely give it a shot, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.